Well, most people save up for a big trip or stash money in a rainy day fund, but how many of you saved early for your retirement fund? For a lot of young people, that tends to get pushed back to the back burner, but it certainly shouldn't. And if you've reached retirement age, you know that truth all too well when it comes to Social Security. Here's what you can expect as of right now. According to the Social Security Administration, there are designated full retirement ages depending on which year you were born. If you decide to begin your benefits before that designated age, you're choosing to take a pay cut or a percentage of that money out. For example, if your full retirement age is 67 and you claim your benefits at 62, you're choosing to take a 30% reduction. But if your full retirement age is 67 and you decide to claim benefits at age 66, you're only taking about a 7% reduction. Now, imagine that you're receiving these benefits and all of a sudden they stop. Your bank accounts have frozen and you can no longer access any of the money you've earned. Well, that's what's happening to these people. 60 Minutes' very own Scott Pelley took an in-depth look at something that's happening all too often. The U.S. government is mistakenly pronouncing Social Security recipients dead. One man says it affected more than just his bottom line.
This is a form from the Social Security Administration. The idea was you were going to call this number and essentially report that your wife had passed.
Exactly, and that's what I did on the following Monday. 8 days later, I went to access my bank account, and they kept saying invalid PIN. So I went to the bank. I give the lady the problem I was having. She typed my numbers into the computer, and she grabbed my hand. She says, Mr. Pilger, I don't believe this. They reported you deceased and not your wife.
Of the approximately 2.8 million death reports the Social Security Administration receives per year, about 14,000 of those are incorrectly entered into the administration's death master file. Lawmakers are saying this isn't the only issue when it comes to Social Security benefits. Many are calling for change. Governor Chris Christie says that many lawmakers in Washington have been pushing it under the rug, and as a part of his plan, he proposed phasing out Social Security payments for those making more than $80,000 per year and eliminating them completely for those making more than $200,000 per year.
The changes I propose today to Social Security and Medicare would not materially affect seniors currently receiving these benefits or seniors approaching retirement. So let me repeat that before they start running the, he's pushing Granny in the wheelchair off the cliff ads, okay? These changes will not affect you, but will save these programs for your grandchildren. And anyone who tells you differently is simply not telling you the truth.
The governor also proposed raising the retirement ages for Social Security and Medicare eligibility and eliminating the payroll tax for seniors who stay in the workforce past age 62. Understanding the ins and outs of Social Security can be difficult. That's why it helps to get all the information you can and all the help you can. Jimmy has more on that.
Social Security is the foundation of financial well-being for millions of people in retirement, yet many of us have really no idea how to navigate it. Many are probably left wondering whether you're eligible, how much of a benefit you might receive, when you should start collecting, and whether Social Security will even be there when you need it. So here to give us answers to those questions is Jonathan Peterson, who is the Executive Communications Director at AARP and the author of Social Security for Dummies. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
So what do we need to keep in mind with the new changes coming to Social Security?
Well, everybody has questions about Social Security, and it's an understandable thing. These benefits are critically important for most older families, and yet it's a complicated program. There are many benefits and many rules. So an important change that I want to point out is that the Social Security Administration has made it easier for people to gain access to their personal information that the agency has. So if a person were to go online to socialsecurity.gov,
right,
you can create an account. You can register for something called a My Social Security account. And once you do that, it's very easy to find out what they are projecting your retirement benefits would be, and not just what they would be at any one age, but what they would be at 3 different ages, starting with 62,
Right.
a full retirement age of 66 or 67, and all the way up to 70.
So Jonathan, I've got you here. How should I factor in my Social Security into my retirement plans?
Well, I think that the concept to keep in mind is Social Security is a foundation. And it can be an excellent foundation, especially if you're fortunate enough to be able to supplement it with other income and other financial resources. Social Security, for most people, is going to be the only income in their later years that has inflation protection, that's guaranteed, that does not go up and down with Wall Street, and that lasts until you die. So this makes those benefits extremely valuable for people.
Is there something we can do to make sure that we're getting the maximum benefit?
The guideline here is that if you can wait to claim rather than taking a benefit as soon as you're eligible for it, you generally end up with more money, and that applies to retirement benefits, it applies to spousal benefits, it potentially even applies to a survivor benefit.
But we keep hearing that it's disappearing. Is it going to be there for our kids, for our grandkids?
Well, AARP is certainly fighting to make sure it is, and I think that it is going to be there for our kids, our grandchildren, and for future generations. I'll tell you why. Every year, the Social Security Administration conducts a very in-depth analysis of its finances. And what this has been showing is that the big Social Security, believe it or not, has a huge surplus right now. It's actually $2.8 trillion. But it's true that this surplus is gradually going to wind down. And in about 18 years, the surplus is gone. And at that point, Social Security can pay a projected 3/4 or so of promised benefits. And yes, it's eminently possible to fix this.
It can happen. Jonathan Peterson, the Executive Communications Director for AARP and author of Social Security for Dummies. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, if you'd like more information on Social Security policies, as well as Jonathan Peterson, just go to our website, WBOC.com, and click on our picture at the top of the page. So do you dream of the day that you can retire? You know, when you can quit your job, you can kick your feet up, you can travel the world. That sounds pretty good, huh? Now, can you afford to retire? According to a recent study by the Insured Retirement Institute, nearly 1 in 4 boomers had trouble paying their rent or mortgage this year. 4 in 10 boomers report they have no savings at all for retirement, and 3 out of 10 don't expect to retire until their 70s. Kind of scary when you think about it. It's scary, but it's not hopeless. So here to help us get back on retirement track is Cathy Weatherford. She's the president and CEO of the Insured Retirement Institute. Cathy, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
So Cathy, boomer confidence is kind of low.
Yes, this was the 5th year of our boomer confidence study, and confidence was at a 5-year low. We think that the recession took a tremendous toll on these baby boomers with low interest rates, volatility of the markets, probably unintended unemployment issues, as well as other issues that the recession brought about. Now, on the other side of that, the expectations for their future is much greater. So the upswing in the economy, better employment opportunities, I think the improvement in home values have really given them, while the confidence is low, as they look to their future, I think that they're seeing some hope.
So there's some bad, but there's some good too. Is there a magic number when it comes to retirement?
Well, I think our study this year told us that there's a new magic number. The old adage was 65, and that I think was built around the claiming age for Social Security. But these boomers, 1 in 3, told us that they're going to work to age 70 or far beyond, either because they want to or because they need to.
What do you see as the biggest mistakes that people are making?
Well, they don't put money into their workplace savings plan, their 401ks. Right. That's the last free lunch in America. And so if you put money into that 401k, you're going to get that employer match. And that's the last free lunch, that employer match. And that grows pretty substantially, pretty quickly when you sock your money away in that workplace savings and then you add that employer match on top of it. And the big mistake is millions of Americans don't take advantage of that retirement savings plan.
Well, I'd like to say I'm a spring chicken, but I'm not. Is it ever too late to start?
No, it's not. Social Security is our great foundation in America, but it's not too late to, continue employment, work part-time, build your savings out. Think about your home equity if you own your home. Many boomers we're starting to see are downsizing or selling homes and moving to a more affordable part of the nation or out of country, looking at other places where the cost of living is much less expensive as the United States. So I think that there's lots of ways that boomers can get there. And if you're a young boomer, age 54 to 58, you know that you have 10 to 15 more years to really make this work and get the plan together, take action, and build yourself a secure retirement.
So you were talking about retirement age at 65, and I guess it was 62 before that. Do you think we should be working until we're 70?
I think it's up to the individual. Some people are so passionate about what they do that they don't want to leave the workplace and they're going to stay longer. The other thing we're seeing among boomers is they may leave one career in their 60s and then embark on a whole new career, something that was their passion, but they really never got to take advantage of it because they got on a career track and they stayed on it. So now they're chasing that passion that they have. And earning income while doing it. So I don't know that there's a date that we should tell people you should retire. Of course, health and lifestyle and a lot of that have a great deal to do with it. But I think that baby boomers and every generation after this are going to change the way that we look at how we spend this last life stage in our country and in our world.
Cathy Weatherford, President and CEO of Insured Retirement Institute, thank you so much for your time with us this afternoon. If you would like more information on what Cathy just had to say about retirement or the study, just go to our website, DelmarvaLife.com, and click on our picture at the top of the page. So from taking care of our finances to taking care of our health, coming up, how you can help people here on Delmarva who are living with kidney disease, a disease touching 1 in 10 Americans. Plus, we meet a local man who lived to tell the story of how he was given the ultimate gift, the gift of life. But first, let's get our first clue in today's search for strikers. Sean?
Jimmy, I wanted to go easy on you guys the first round, so here it is, your first clue. In 1820, when this town was just a little village, it was known as Forktown. Well, if you don't think you know it yet, that's all right. No worries, because I still have 2 more clues coming up. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.